Greetings to you all, and as always, I welcome you to this platform and to this moment where, as a Guyanese and one who leads the people's movement, I'm here to discuss with you a matter of what I would consider to be very critical importance to us. As you enter the broadcast on Facebook and also on YouTube, please indicate to me whether you hear me clearly and you're also seeing me clearly. I would greatly appreciate that feedback. As you would notice, I have on screen which I've put there on purpose to open or to welcome you. A statement or an excerpt of a statement made by Member of Parliament Jermaine Figueira, who happens to be one of the parliamentarians responsible for Region 10. And in his region, two young men were shot and killed, unjustifiably so, by two police officers, not one, two different people, within a 24-hour period. And I would like for you to read, as you enter, that which a member of parliament in the APNU AFC coalition, who represents the same region in which the police officers came, or to which they came, and where they would have slaughtered two of our sons. Look at what Figure is saying. And this speaks to the matter where Irfan Ali entered the room at Vatuki Guest House on the night of the disturbance, or protest, I should say, when he went to corral the family members to the guest house. He didn't go to the bridge, he went to the guest house, we took the guest house. And the family would have been there. A PNC councillor, I think, would have been there as well. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure whether MP Walton Desir was there, Amanza. But Figueroa sat there, and Figueroa would have been willing to shake Irfan Ali's hand. After, based on what I saw, Irfan would have walked past the mayor in Sharma Solomon. Initially, he did not extend his hand to shake the mayor's hand. And after he would have approached Sharma, as far as what I saw, Sharma refused to do the same. Let me just switch from this earpiece to another. Can you hear me clearly? Is it still fine? I want to read from you. Figueroa said deviation from such basic norms should be shaking the hand of Irfan Ali and so on. Should be saved for cases of collective national rebellion for just cause. Listen to the language. I'm focusing on the very first statement, or this aspect of the statement. Deviation from shaking Ali's hand, essentially. A basic norm of greeting the president, the one who's paid to be president, should be saved for cases of collective national rebellion for just cause, which does not currently exist in our country. I played that for you on a few occasions. I'll have that on the screen quite often. Figueroa is saying that there is no just cause for national rebellion. She might have asked me to share some links, so that's why you see me popping up there. I don't know what it is, but I'm just going with the flow. Figueroa, as a member of parliament, representing my region, Region 10, when the dust began to settle, on the same night after the second young man, who's known as Dan, was shot and killed, shot in the eye
shot to death by a police officer. This man, this fella, as a member of parliament on the opposition side, said that there is no reason for national rebellion. I want to show you again. My focus tonight is not to be long. It's just to show you the kind of mentality we have to deal with and why I would have always told you all the reason why I refused to deal with the PNC, APNU, AFC, PPP, whatever other P you want to call it. I cannot deal with certain people. I'm trying to be as controlled as possible. See how long it took for me to talk about this? Because the rage that I felt towards Figueira required my calming myself to the degree to deal with this boy. Because it cannot be a man who's speaking here. And Aubrey Norton, David Granger still has this creature as a member of parliament. I don't care if it's 2 days before election. David Granger still has this boy representing Region 10. When he could say that two young men could be unjustifiably slaughtered by police officers. Figueira said there's no need for national rebellion. There's no reason for it. The lives of 2 African young men snuffed out by the guns owned by the state but given to policemen. Their lives are not worth national rebellion. Let me play it for you again. I'll show you again. Read it for you. This is where he would have shaken Irfan Ali's hand. This fella here. When it comes to matters of state being respectful and courteous to the head of state is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer discussion for me. It will always come naturally without isms and schisms, said Figueira. Deviation from such basic norms should be saved for cases of collective national rebellion for just cause, which does not currently exist in our country. Strangely, again, my latest act of basic decency has yet again led to attacks from a few usual suspects. And I didn't attack him, but now I'm doing it. If we continue down this path of division, destruction, disunity, and injustice, where does it lead us? Who wins? Quote unquote. And this is carried by Guyana Chronicle, by the way. Our newspaper, owned by the state, but controlled by the PPP Civic, and when APNU is the power, controlled by APNU or PNC, whoever it is, carry these words of the member of parliament, one of the two. De Vincennes was out there protesting. Figueira had commentary to make that there's no reason for national rebellion. None. There is no cause for Guyanese to be rebellious against the fact that those who are paid and who were sworn to protect us could show up in our town, grab a young man, chase him with a pistol, though he had nothing in his hand, as far as I saw. And the police report or the initial statement said nothing about the young man retaliating against the police officers. That's Ronaldo. They said nothing about him, Mr. Peters, being aggressive toward the police officer, Kendall. They said nothing about the young man attacking any police officer. But what they said was Kendall's gun went off accidentally. Accidentally. Causing a bullet to pierce the body of a young Londoner, a father. Based on the reports, Kendall went to Georgetown. That's what they said. He's not in the region. While our young Londoner bled and died. And the member of parliament responsible for him and for representing him, Figueira, who has a son, as far as I'm aware, maybe two. This father, this creature, being a father, would say that there's no cause for national rebellion. None. I'm trying to be as somber and as calm as possible, hoping that you'll hear my voice and not necessarily my reactions and my gesticulation as you normally would see. Because this is a night for us to really process. Linden is quiet. If you walk the streets of Linden, you would swear that nothing happened in here last week. You would swear that absolutely nothing happened to us that was traumatic. And that is a sign to the PPP, as you all send people to the UN to talk about African descendants. That's a clear-cut case of what happened on the plantations. When our foreparents were raped, buggered, slaughtered, they decapitated, their hands were chopped off and all of that, they had to return to work as normal. They had to watch our fathers and our mothers, brothers and sisters, be lynched by the white man. And when you stand to watch lynching, you go back to work. This is what we're living in London. You observe murder. I will call it nothing else. You observe slaughter of your own people. And within 24 hours, your leaders tell you, let's go back to work as normal. I was out of town. As I told you, I was dealing with my brother's funeral. I'm back. And when I observe my community, my heart sinks and bleeds to know that leaders of this town would encourage people to return to normalcy while we await an independent investigation. And Figueira will say that there's no cause for national rebellion. When the spring in the Middle East, you know, it started when the young man who was tired of being harassed, set himself on fire in front of the town hall or wherever it was. And that triggered the Eastern Spring uprising in Egypt, in so many countries. One man said, I'm tired of this foolishness. I'm tired of being tormented. I'm tired of being harassed. And he stood in front of the public building and burnt himself alive. And that one man who did it himself now, his action triggered millions of people coming out in protest and toppling. Remember that? The Egyptian regime? Syria had a problem. Figueira and others, counselors alike, encourage our people to just return to normalcy. Because there's no reason, according to Figueira, there's no reason, according to Figgy, for any unrest or any public protesting or national rebellion. Understand what I'm saying to you, because in this, at the UN, there's a discussion regarding the decade. The decade dedicated to African Descendants, the International Decade, dedicated to our plight, and in a community that is predominantly African descendants, more than 95% of Region 10, and Figueira being an African descendant, or having it in his blood, this boy, representing us at the highest office possible in Region 10, being a member of parliament, would say that there's no reason why we should rebel. When within 2 days, the police, 2 different policemen, shot and killed 2 of our people. None of them, not one of them, based on any report, had a weapon in his hand, attacked the police with a weapon, attacked a civilian with a weapon, or did any such thing. The police came and stood in our community. The same region where Figueira is a member of parliament, stood there with assault rifles, AK-47, assault weapons that can kill you from 1 mile away. 1 mile. Figueira said, seeing police with that in our community, coming here with the intention, and they did it at the protest, shot and killed. You can only kill people you shoot them with a live round, more often than not. Rubber bullets don't kill you unless they have to put it to your chest, I guess, and you have to have some pre-existing condition. But they came with live ammunition, live rounds, shot live rounds at Figueira's constituents. And Figueira said that there's no need for national rebellion. When police could come and watch protesters who have no guns, they show up with assault rifles. And Figueira will tell you all that there's no reason for national rebellion. So I want him to tell me, what is cause for national rebellion? Give me the cause, Figueira, for national rebellion. People had to demand that they finally show up here. A Polaris stand, egg ball stand in Monrepo. Within hours, he was on the coast, promising to repay. And the $2 million Polaris stand, an egg ball stand, is still in record. As being the most expensive 2 feet square, 60 cm. And this boy would type something that is so disrespectful and so stupid. And Granger will have him there because Granger controls who sits in the House of Assembly. Norton doesn't do that. Granger controls Norton's presence in the House of Assembly at this time because Granger's the head of the list. The man who talks about Nancy stupid web all the time. All that happened to us. And tomorrow, I think it is, with Ben Strapp, you talk about Nancy. And Nancy Webb, education. Where you would sit and speak to your being this astute historian and present us with your monotonous nonsense. While your member of parliament you put there is saying that there is no reason for us as a people collectively across this nation to rebel against police officers killing 2 of us. Not 1. And I've taken note that you are the only member of parliament, the only one from Apnu AFC side who is featured in Guyana Chronicle and Newsroom and these places. And your being featured speaks to your being apologetic or gray in your presentations. I spoke to a young girl being what I consider to be raped, because if a grown man, 51 years old, Kenneth, could brace a 7-year-old to a fence and say that she rubbed herself on him and all kind of crap, and you never once even show up in school. I don't care where you were. You never even called because you have my number. You never even commented publicly, but you could comment in Chronicle. You could give a statement that shaking Irfan Ali's hand is a basic courtesy. Extended to whom? And for what? Why didn't you say to Irfan, go to the bridge? Go where the AK-47 assault rifles are being fired or are being held, and where people are firing live rounds at people. Go there and see what they're doing to us in Linden. Go and see the weaponry that the police were sent to Linden with. Go and see what. No, you decide. You decide. You decide to issue your typical slithering statement because Sharma did not shake Figgy's hand. And some of you will say to me, well, London, you shook Figgy's hand at the bridge. Nobody was shot. When I went, they asked me to go meet as a contractor. I own a business. They asked me to have a meeting. I was sent a message the night before that we should have a meeting with Irfan Ali. I went to discuss my road business, and when I found out that he wanted to talk about everything else except that, I left. Because I have no interest in what Irfan Ali has to say apart from what my business was about. Nothing. I didn't get to Georgetown. I stopped on the highway and spoke to him, wasting my time. So don't bark up that tree. Do not bark up that tree to save your life. Two men, two young men, one a father of three. A father of three, his son attends Come As You Are ministries within fellowship with us. Dan's son. Dan, they're from Wisma. Figueira is from Wisma. And our town, based on the nature and the general deportment of leaders, is quiet and normal. Nothing to worry about. No peaceful protests, and I'm not saying you have to destroy anything. And I'll get to that as well. No peaceful protesting. And I have lived to see that Lindeners as well said that seeking to destroy the new bridge or the trestle being used. Let me speak to that. Edgel is not a Lindener. But it was said that this is reckless behavior. Burning the bridge is reckless behavior. Because I've come to realize that in Lindener's eyes, and some of our leaders' eyes, well, not your leaders' eyes, they're not my leaders. The bridge is worth more than human being. Well, let me help you to help me, please. If they broke the bridge down completely, if they destroyed the entire trestle that the Chinese are on, because I have a problem with that too. I keep asking Bar Jagri to tell me, why is it that China Railway Corporation Caribbean, you just add a handle to it now. China Railway Corporation was sanctioned by the USA, by the way. They now have a handle called Caribbean at the end. Why is it that they're the only people who could build bridges in this country? Mega structures, according to your terminology, and major highways. Why is it that only friends of the PPP could build the Suicide Linden Highway? Why? And y'all send that hack of a hack to the UN to talk. And that idiot in Joe Hamilton to speak to what African descendants are facing. Tell the UN what I asked you for 4 years and counting, to name for me 5 people, 4, 3 or 2, who are in the oil and gas shore-based facilities business. The top brass, name 2 who are African descendants. In construction in this country, name 2 African descendants who are the pinnacle in reference to economics. And as you know, demographically speaking, and in reference to our nature and the records, we African descendants graduate the most, and we serve in the public sector more than anybody else. We're the most academically qualified people in all of Guyana. That's a fact. Even in the field of engineering, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, architecture, we African descendants represent the greatest of our populations in this country. And you can't name 2 of them who are the pinnacle of construction in this country. And Figueira sees no reason for national rebellion because you're talking about the bridge. So let me go to the bridge then. And they should, if you ask me, should not have been standing in the first place. Because if you come and murder my people, don't tell me any bridge. You can rebuild the bridge. If it takes 2 months to rebuild it, the bridge can be rebuilt. Please tell me, you dumbos, when can you rebuild Dan's life and put him before me today? When can you rebuild Ronaldo Peters' life and put him before me? If you can compare 2 young men, 2 fathers' lives to a structure called a bridge, bring them back. Since the bridge is so important to y'all, and since if you destroy the bridge, it's a major travesty and a major wrong committed by Lyndon as well, bring Ronaldo back and bring Dan back. Since the bridge, I know that if I destroy one part of the bridge, it can be rebuilt, it can be replaced as metal. But you bring Ronaldo back. Since you know that you could replace the bridge, then I would like to think you can also replace Ronaldo. And you can bring Dan back to his children tonight. But that's how cold and insensitive you've become because of the nature in which you live, the environment in which you live. Do not burn Master's cane field. Don't burn Master's house. How could you burn the little lodges we live in? How dare you burn these things? Where are we going to sleep tonight? You shouldn't burn the cane field because Master is going to be affected. That's how your process. The Chinese are taking our money out of Guyana. Where do you think most of the money for that bridge going? And Figueira sees no reason for there to be organized chaos led by him. But Edger could talk about people being so upset that they burned the bridge and destroyed a truck. Because Dan's life is worth 1 truck. When you do the math, in 2012, the young men who were killed at the bridge, the commission arrived at figures that a young African Guyanese life is just about $3 or $4 million. In some, maybe one case, 5. You know what more than that? With Quinlan Bacchus, the judge says paid 24 million, I think it would have been. And Anil Nandalal sought to appeal to tell y'all he's not prepared to, and he wasn't paying it. He's not prepared to have the state, us the people, give to Quinlan Bacchus' family $24 million for his life, which I found to be an atrocity on the judge's part in the first place. A young man in this country, his life is worth $24 million. And Anil Nandalal said, no, we're not going to pay that. And until we began to kick up Mark Benchtrop, myself and others, Dr. Hines and others began to call Anil for just what he is. I put this on the screen and deal with you because you asked for it tonight. Tonight, done a formal I deal with you tonight. You, Anil Khan. Anil Khan, I'll deal with you. I'll leave a comment right here. Anil said no. Anil sought to appeal a ruling to give a young African man, his family, his whole family, $24 million for his life. In Linen the Bridge, they said you're not worth more than $5 million. That's in 2012. Now, Anil Khan said, this guy don't believe, it should be does not. This guy does not believe in Jesus Christ. No, I do not believe in any European lie. Period. I do not believe in any Eurocentric garbage that was meant to cripple my people. The first time my forefathers saw the word Jesus, it was on the mast. If you know the mast is, go check. If you don't know, go check your phone that you're using to make yourself an idiot. It was on the mast of a ship called the Good Jesus of Lubeck. That's the first time that African descendants and Hebrew people saw the word Jesus. It was on a slave ship that came on the Gold Coast to collect them and bring them to what's called the transatlantic slave trade. So get the word Jesus does not exist in the Hebrew vernacular or vocabulary. The word Jesus did not exist when English was first formed. It didn't exist in Middle Century, in Middle English. It did not exist in early modern English. Get Yeshua, the Messiah, is who I believe in. Jesus, the European lie, is garbage. You go on Google with your preschool dropout self. You go on Google now, images of Jesus, and you'll see 99.9 of them are white, Caucasian, from the Caucasus Mountains. And the nice Jesus preachers has us where we are because none of them have us where we are because not one of them could come forward even in Linden where two men were murdered and they can't come and talk. None of y'all. But when Granger, according to Sam Hines, and I know it's the truth, deceived Londoners because he had agreed for the electricity rate to increase, the pastors came out because they said that it's going to affect money. They came out to stand. 7 of them came to the bridge to stand because the threat of electricity tariffs increasing in Linden would affect the livelihood, which would affect the tithe. All the tithe is money, you eat it. But they couldn't come out to stand to decry the actions of the police officers. But when they said they'll raise the electricity tariff in 2012, the pastors led. The pastors were there in numbers, all of them gathered at the bridge. And you tell me I must believe in the weakest of all European concepts? While they sang to Jesus upstairs in the castle, at the gate of no return, there was a church, there was a chapel upstairs, and they sang for God, for Jesus to give them a safe trip through the Middle Passage to get here. And below their feet were my fathers, were the fathers of the Africans and mothers and children who were knee to waist deep in urine and, don't let me say the word, and feces. While above their heads, the white men sang to Jesus in church and prayed to Jesus for a safe passage. Below their feet, underground in the dungeon, our fathers were knee deep. Our brothers and sisters were knee and chest deep in human waste, feces, poop, piss, and you Jesus preachers in this country and the Caribbean would allow yourself to be so idiotic, so weak, so soft. It should be idiotic. That you all could just allow police to come into your town, murder your people, and then business proceeds as usual. Leaders of your town, who you voted for in local government, could tell you all, we just need peace. We just need to have quiet and just relax, let everything go back to normal, give the police a chance to work. How do you give somebody a chance to work when they represent what slaughtered you? Tell me how, please. How do you give people a chance to work and you remove yourself from the street? I'm not saying you destroy anybody's life or destroy. I'm saying you stay on the road, maintain your posture, that until Kendall and this other one are brought before the court, you're not moving. It's that simple to me. But within 24 hours, within 10 hours, a friend shows up, gets Figgy in the room, gets the family off the road, and says, listen, let's talk about this thing. We offset the expenses, we'll deal with what has to be dealt with, and give us a chance to have this thing work. The Henry boys, same thing. We leave no stone unturned until we get to the bottom of Singh and Henry boys' murder. They were brutally chopped, and they promised we'll get to the bottom of this. When the people hired a private investigator, the investigator came to this country and requested the clothing of the young men, because he said we're going to get DNA from here. And this is, of course, where we're going to start, because DNA doesn't lie. So if he finds samples of anybody's blood or hair or anything on the clothing, we'll know that you are present. And you told the boys, oh, semester, no, you didn't go through the right channel. And the same PPP, under the same ban, I told you all, listen, we leave no stone unturned. No stone will be left unturned. Figueira sees no cause for national rebellion when within 24 hours, not one, two of our young men were slaughtered. No cause for national rebellion. What's in the cards? Town week. Would you believe this? Would you believe that 2 of our young brothers were murdered? I call it what it is, to me. And within the month, what's on the agenda? Town week. $55 according to Gospel, 55 events marking the 55th anniversary of the town. It's not 55th anniversary of Town Week, by the way. Would you believe that? That, like with the Madia fire with the 19 girls and 1 boy, Ali said 3 days in the morning after that stinking dirty, no, stinking nettles, moderation. Wind up yourself. In Linden, within a month after 2 of our sons were murdered by the policemen, what do you get? Oh, Town Week. Let's party. We'll have the funeral and we'll go after that, party for a whole week. Because the highest ranking one of them, official in Linden, in Region 10, said that there's no cause, no reason for there to be a public, a national rebellion against what happened in Linden. Let me show it to you again. Show it to you again. Figgy said deviation from the handshaking. When it comes to matters of state, being respectful and courteous to the head of state is a no-brainer. When the head of state met the people 5:30 in the morning, Figueira, and disrespected engineers, disrespected professionals, you don't seem to understand that this goes both ways. Irfan Ali leads this country, or should lead the country, by example. He called his children 5:30 in the morning. I was waiting for him to call me. He hasn't called me yet. I was hoping that during certain delays with the road project that I did, he would have called for a 5:30 meeting and talked to me like that. So respecting Irfan is a no-brainer. So the decision he made to shake Irfan Ali's hand is a sign of respect. Further, he stated that deviation from such, which is the other side I'll show you, deviation from such basic norms should be saved for cases of collective national rebellion. Collective national rebellion for just cause, which does not currently exist. The tadpoles are coming out from under every rock. I love it. Come. There's no cause for national rebellion, said Figgy. None. And I call him Figgy. The cause for national rebellion does not exist. Let me present you with the truth. If an African police officer would have gone to Annandale, Lusignan, Enmore, Crabble Creek, and those places, and shot in cold blood an Indian young man, do you believe that in those communities you'd have had the reaction you had in England? Let's just talk straight. Bharat Jagdeo decided that he's going to try to do, and I'm happy he did it to y'all. It's good because you aren't learning yet. He said, listen, these fellas just decided to act on their own. Get that? So when I saw the bus as I was traveling down the highway, I was in East Bank. When I saw the bus of police officers heading to Linden to do only what they do best, Barrett says, we don't control their behavior. So they left Georgetown Barrett on their own volition. They were armed with assault rifles that use in war. Rifles used in Afghanistan and those places, the war with Russia, that's what they had. So you arm them with assault rifles, but that's a rogue situation. And I'll go even further for you all, because I have the time to deal with Figgy tonight, and to all of you who need to be dealt with. People decided they're going to be quick to say, you can't blame the PPP for this. You cannot blame what they call the government, which is the administration. You cannot blame the administration for the actions of the police officers. You can't do that. No, you can't. But let me help you then. Since you cannot. Who controls, in reference to the administration, who controls the Guyana police force? You all type for me. I won't see a comment because some nonsense on my screen. I don't know why. I'll see it as after a while. But tell us, please, who controls The administration of the police force. Who has policy making power? Who instructs, in reference to hierarchy, the police force? Since you can't blame the government, let's take this one step at a time. Because it's the administration, the government happens to be the people. Who? There's an office or a ministry called the Ministry of Home Affairs. Greater change it to Ramadan, it says called National Security. If you have a Minister of Home Affairs with direct oversight over Hicken, who is the Commissioner of Police, they confirm him in his old age. And Hicken has authority over the assistant commissioners, and they go down to the deputies and all the rest of them. Tell me, please, who can tell me that when the police go out in the bus, armed with AK-47 rifles, that doesn't go back to Hicken, and it doesn't go up to Ben? When the same Ben said, when I spoke to the police who came in the ward, South Million's ward, and shot that young man with an AK-47 weapon, when the man did not have a gun, the same Ben said, police need to stop going around the place with these AK-47 rifles. Now, hold on. If Robeson Ben can say, in that situation when I reported it, that police all need to stop this, do not go out here with any assault rifles to approach civilians on a normal basis, how could you tell me that when the same police officers, in reference to the same body of people, are armed with assault rifles, it doesn't go back to Robeson Ben? When there's a crisis in Linden that they knew that existed, and the police were sent to reclaim the bridge, because that's how you do it in reference to warfare, and they started shooting live rounds, who does that go back to? Oh, let's go deeper. In every event, every occasion where something of this nature occurs, there's something that you call training or investigation of the officers' training that comes to the table. Ask Mr. Slow. He'll better help you, PPP dotards. You have to ask the question, what would lead to Kendall coming out of an unmarked vehicle, grabbing a young man, dragging him back into the bus, and he shows up dead at the hospital? What led to that? As a police officer, because the Guyana Police Force issued a statement. Now, hold on. Why would the Guyana Police Force issue a statement about Ronaldo's death if it doesn't go back to the force? Oh, it's rogue. So the cop is a rogue cop, but the police force would make a statement to protect the rogue cop, to say that Ronaldo is wanted for questioning in reference to rape allegations since December. So Barrett is, I'm laughing because I just love what Barrett does to you African morons. I love what he does to y'all. When you act the fool, Barrett says, I don't have time with you. You're on your own. Good. And he will do it all of the time. So when one in khaki shot Dan, according to the report, in his eye and killed him, that was a rogue cop. So here's the thing. Here's the deal. What happens now is that the police will come to Linden, only Linden happens to, shoot and kill you. And all the people says, you know what? That's a rogue cop. That one there, he just went wild. That is a typical act. In the US, it was done. In Russia, perfected. Germany, It was mastered. China, North Korea, that's the norm. You go Venezuela as well. You just go out there and kill them, and we'll say, listen, this fellow didn't act in, that was not. We don't do that. That is not our modus operandi. We don't do that. What do? You put the cop before the court, the policeman, if he gets that far. But first, you tell the public he's being dealt with. He's on the close arrest. What is close arrest? Because it told me, I'm happy that on David Hines' show, Politics 101, Mr. Slow, and even before that, help you all, because I told you before, there's nothing called close arrest when a police shoots and kills a civilian for no reason. Close arrest is defined in the Policing Act as to exactly what warrants it. And shooting a man in cold blood doesn't warrant close arrest. But here we have in London, people telling you all, Kendall is under close arrest. Is he? Have you ever seen how these guys live when they're under close arrest? You feel they in shackled somewhere or in some concrete floor with no toilet? Huh? You think that's how they are when the police tell you they're under close arrest? Do you know how normal these men's lives are? Because they live in the barracks. And you're talking about close arrest? I just love, honestly speaking, what Barrett does to you when you behave like an idiot. Leave you on your own, because it is well established that for a police officer to even carry a weapon, they requires a degree of stability. Mental stability, emotional stability. But what do we tell you all? You all go relax, go home. The guys are under close arrest. That's it. You don't see them. There's no video showing you anything with these people. Nothing. You don't see them in handcuffs or shackles on their feet anywhere in Eve Leary. But all you told, they're under close arrest. We have them covered. And we're launching a thorough investigation. With our in Boston was a thorough investigation too. Remember that? And Figueira says that there's no cause for national rebellion, because things in this country are going so smoothly according to his reasoning that you do not need to go down that path. There's no reason for it. No cause to rise up against this system. Figueira, who saw only a few days before that GRA popping up at Mohammed's on a Saturday morning. I have never known GRA works on Saturday unless they do patrols or that group. Pop up. Say they came to collect 4 luxury vehicles. After 4 years, and Figueira doesn't see a cause for national rebellion to say, how could you wait for 4 years until you, Mohammed, fall out before you want back something. He sees no cause for there to be national rebellion to say, listen, so for the past 4 years, when Azadin was not giving you a problem, you were okay with the situation. And then you discovered there's no cause for national rebellion. Figueira being a black man, that's what you are, you're not African. You're not Hebrew for sure. But see, in his region, a woman consistently disrespecting African descendants in the same town he lives, in London here. Lorma's wife. Shavane Lorma. Saying the most derogatory things. And the police haven't shown up to her once. And Figueira doesn't see cause for national rebellion. When in Region 10, a private security firm, Sheriff Security, pops into this town and could take over posts, and in Meriton National, in Georgetown as well, remove the constables that were there, the brown clothes, you call them police, with the black bottom. Move them and put a private security there. Figueira sees no cause. He can't even ask the question. How could you have members of the Guyana Police Force removed from their post and public buildings be guarded by a private security company? No. There is no cause, said he, for national rebellion. And I repeat that with 2 officers slaughtering our young men within 24 hours, and then the police tell you all they want to close arrest. You see no video, no photograph, nothing. With Bascom, remember with Bascom when he was talking and of course being upset, you know what they said? Hey, Hicken and Blanham were before. I never know they have so many cameras in the Guyana Police Force. And they were in this room where they had to show all this evidence, and oh boy, they had a feeling making themselves clowns in the room. Oh, they could show all the things where Bascom was wrong. But when 2 of our African brothers, 2 Londoners, well, he was an African Ronaldo, an Armenian brother, mixed, was killed, one statement came out that the officers were all clad in their uniform. They approached the young man. He ran. Colonel gave chase, grabbing him. So the gun is in his right hand. He has a free left hand now. And he grabbed the boy with a gun in his hand. It's brilliant. I don't have a gun. Let me use my AC controller. Imagine I have a weapon in my hand, a gun in my hand. And I am running after this young man who tried to scale a fence to get over the fence. And my left hand is free. I wouldn't grab him with my left hand. I use a hand with the gun to hold him. Can you imagine that in 2025, according to Pope Gregory's calendar, the police will write that? And Figueira says that there's no cause for national rebellion. None. Because when I hold him with my right hand, according to Kendall, the gun, my hand hit the trigger and pulled the trigger, which requires force, by the way. It's not a little toy, and even toy guns, you have to apply force to pull the trigger. Because there's a loaded spring you have to overcome. I pulled the trigger and shot him. So if it was an accident at the fence, Kendall could tell us why he dragged him and threw him in the bus. Because if he didn't intend to do anything to him that was untoward and ill, you wouldn't drag him like a piece of dog, like a dog, and toss him in the bus. You'll be telling officers hysterically, well, no, something is wrong here. What's going on here? I accidentally shot this guy. People hear you say that. But you dragged him. And on a close arrest, I'm informed that you could have your phone watching me right now because you live in that lodge. Figueira sees no cause for national rebellion. Hence, he would shake Finale's hand and say to Guyanese and Londoners, relax, we don't have a problem. This matter is being dealt with. Relax. There's no issue in our town. Go back to normal. Return to schools, return to life as usual, because Londoners are accustomed to being shot and killed. Londoners have grown accustomed to live rounds being fired at us. So there's no cause for an outcry and for weeks of protesting. Relax. This is normal for us. Police come into the town, they fire AK-47s at us, they fire live slugs at us that you used to kill buckshots, you used to kill deer and these wild hogs and stuff and wild cow. Shoot them with that. And then you go back to life as normal. Your pastors say nothing. Your imams say nothing. You don't find them anywhere. Your prophets and priests and them, you don't find them anywhere. Because this is not a problem. You got to be a Betty Sancho. You don't find her. You don't find Gaspar the Bridge. You don't find any of them. Because this here is not a PPP problem. So there's no PPP leader in this community who could go to that bridge and stand up and say anything. Because you dare not protest. But it's not the PPP's problem. But the PPP leaders cannot go to the bridge to protest to say, you're wrong for shooting this boy. But it's not a PPP problem. And the PPP did not, then they have nothing to do with what happened over in Wismar. But not one councillor could have the gumption, the gall, the intestinal fortitude, and the temerity to go to that bridge and be seen saying that you're all wrong for shooting these boys. Are we going to protest? But it's not a government problem. But the government councillors, as you call them government, can't show up at the bridge. You all expect me to respect a man of Figueira's ilk? When would I respect anybody of his ilk? Under what circumstance? And he is the representative in parliament for the entire region? I leave you tonight. I leave you tonight, requesting of you, not docile behaviors, but courage, fortitude, strength. You have to stand, and you have to stand now. Thank you for your time. We shall speak again, and you'll hear from me in the not too distant future. Do well.